Hey y'all, welcome back to Ascending with Ashley. I'm Ashley. This is a collective convo, and we're going to talk about energetic interference with some examples from my personal life. Okay, I am very much healing my heart chakra today. Not that my heart is broken, but there were attempts to infiltrate. Okay, so energetic interference. What I mean by that is people coming in, like, your path, you've reached this point, right? Or like you have your goals, you know what you're doing, and people come in and try to I'm getting that image of Ninja Warrior again with the big Q-tips where they're like, they kind of look like kayak paddles, but they've got Q-tips, and they're like, they beat each other off of like a balance beam, kind of like that. Like someone's trying to come in and like fuck you up, get you off of your path, confuse you, cloud your judgment, want you to be dependent on them, whatever it is. The one thing about this is the law of revelation. Believe people when they tell you what they're doing. And they're not going to be so direct, but they are going to give you, like, the law of revelation is that people have to tell you what they're doing against you so that they don't receive bad karma. And I believe, for a lot of reasons, like for a lot of situations within our interpersonal lives, this is a very subconscious thing. If you look at like the system as a large, it's a very conscious thing, but like between people, mostly it's subconscious. I mean, some narcissists know what they're doing, but whatever. Not everyone's a narcissist. There's lots of different things that people can do to interfere with your path energetically. For me, one thing that stood out between, I've had two masculine energies who identify themselves as divine masculines come from my past, come into my life in the recent past, right? So like within the past year, and they basically were doing the same thing, like months apart. Okay, so I recognized it the first time. And I did not accept it. I was like, what are you doing? No. But one thing that both of these divine masculines did, they both have access to me online. They know my work. They see my work. They watched my work before reaching out to me. They knew my abilities, my power. They knew my divine femininity. And they both came in, and, I'm friends with these guys. I mean, I was until these things happened. And both of them asked me the same question, which I find kind of fascinating, which is why I'm making a video about this. There was chit chat here, there was some, Ashley, can you help me with this using your cards? Or, oh, let me read about that. Like, oh, they showed interest in my work, in my path, the things that got me to this point. But there were nefarious reasons behind just that initial interest, right? And I was wary of both of these things. I reached out to mutual friends and got a little bit of information about both of them, but I'm also a little bit of a conniving genius, so I humored it for a while. I entertained it. I was like, oh, let's see where this is gonna go, right? And the one thing that both of these men asked me, knowing all of that, like how I just laid the stage, they see my work, they're probably watching this, what's up? But they both asked me, literally almost to the T verbatim of each other, and these men don't know each other, I know that. These are totally different sections of my life. They both said, well, do you know what your purpose is? Are you living in your purpose? And I got to clap back and say, fuck yeah, I am. What do you mean? Yes, of course. Are you dumb? Right? So, to me, that was when the second guy did it, because I was like, what is this? When he said that to me, I was like, oh, wow. It had been after, like, a couple weeks of us chatting regularly, sharing things about our paths and things that we've done, and so when he asked me that, I was like, yeah. So then after that question, both of them turned into this, they flipped themselves into a blatant manipulator. Like, in front of my eyes. Like, it was insane. Their tactics shifted when I stood 10 toes down on what I know I'm supposed to be doing. And so I don't know. I just want to talk about this because it was so interesting to have this experience. I am a divine feminine, and I am calling in a divine masculine. So when offers arise, like I said, give them a chance to show their cards. And eventually, the manipulation comes out. And so I want you to be aware. This isn't necessarily about love, but I think for a lot of people who are dating, especially people who identify as a divine feminine, the masculine collective, we've already talked about toxic masculinity, but the masculine collective is going to do everything they can, the toxic masculine, to pull down a woman from her divine feminine energy. Whereas an equal match, divine masculine, knows their role is to provide and protect so that divine masculine or divine feminine can continue that work. So for both of them to challenge me is immediately, oh, this isn't a divine masculine. A divine masculine would recognize what I'm doing and know that I know what I'm doing. They wouldn't challenge me in that, right? So this can come up in lots of ways. Yes, I took it to a divine union space because that's what I'm calling in. That's why I'm attracting these men. So unfortunately, I'm having to send them away with lessons and boundaries. I mean, not unfortunately for me, unfortunately for them. They get a learning moment. I mean, I get a learning moment as well because it's reminding me to not open up so easily, right? And again, both of these men I've known for at least 10 years of my life. And so it's just like, why are you coming to me now, right? Are you trying to ride my coattails? You can see my work. You can see how things are going for me. You know I am aligned in my purpose. Why would you try to come in and do this? And again, I truly believe to a certain degree most of that is subconscious. But I wanted to give you these examples. If someone ever approaches you and you know you're in your purpose, which is our goal over here, okay? The goal is to come into consciousness, heal ourselves to a point of being able to accept divine guidance in our purpose, to support the human collective in rising the vibration, right? Saving the planet. That's what we do over here. It's not just, oh, let me pull some cards and check out some shit. No, we're really doing deep work over here, okay? So if someone ever comes in and challenges you, and you know what you have done, you know the work that you have put in on yourself, you know the way that you show up in the world, don't ever allow anyone to interfere. If you get to a point of enough strength where you feel like you can kind of, like I said, humor it or entertain it, see where it goes. Like, there's this trend on TikTok about how, oh, I allowed them to manipulate me because I've never seen this tactic and I wanted to know it. That was kind of what I was doing. I was like, let's see how far this goes. Because like I said, I checked in with other mutual friends about this energy or these energies previously to me diving in. And so I was like, okay, let's see how long it takes for these lies to show up. Let's see how long it takes for this energy of support to flip itself into an energy of toxicity or violence even, or competition, right? So when you understand energy at that level, it's a fun game to play. Don't allow anyone to interfere with your path. Again, like I say all the time in my readings, these are people, the crabs in the barrels, right? Like, these are folks I've known for over a decade, both of them. So for them to come into my life at this point, you know, just because we've known each other for a decade doesn't mean we've been in communication for a decade. So for them to both show up and be like, oh, I'm this divine masculine, literally using that language, and it wasn't like a romantic gesture because I'm off limits until I feel safe enough. And like I said, I'm not looking for something from the past. I'm calling in my divine match. But it was fun for a while until I started getting very, very intense messages from my guys, right? Like breaking my phone. You can't see the screen. The screen is all cracked. I haven't fixed it yet. I don't feel like it. It works fine. Hurting myself, being temperamental, going through some cycles of things that I've already let go, all of those things resurfaced for me when these men were in my energy. And so I think that's what I want to really be aware of in regards to interference. If you are repeating cycles, you've already graduated. If you're feeling uneasy about setting boundaries with certain people, if you're feeling unsure or confused about your own path. When one of these guys was in my energy, after I got the ambulance, I just asserted my boundary, I think was it yesterday, with him, and blocked. But for that week or two after I got the ambulance, that's when his energy tried to really start to derail me. I started being very confused. Like I said, in those Wake, Bake, and Makes, if you go back and watch them, I was like, what do I want to do? Why am I, And last night after I blocked him, I had the clarity in my mind come back, and it was like, this is what you want. This is what you've been looking for. This is the design you've been wanting. And so I bought my new materials, and I'll share that with Wake, Bake, and Make, but I think I'm going to lay low on reporting back after every project. I feel like I'm going to do more work in between that, just because of the energetic interference I'm receiving. And one of the things that I even said to him was like, I've reached this goal. This is something I've been working for years. He didn't know anything about this goal until after it was achieved. And so for him to, and I said, I'm like, I haven't been this low in a long time. And I cut out other people while we were still in communication. But the communication from my guides continued. And so I was like, this energy, it's his. And it took me a minute to pinpoint it, but like I said, I was paying attention to the red flags the whole time. But yeah, it was still just like oh, damn it, this dude is not good. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of an example of what that can look like. It doesn't necessarily need to be a hetero situation. That's what it was for me. It made me realize that as I am in my Woodstock, as I am in my divine feminine energy, I've been recognizing that I have a lot of dudes around me as friends, but this last situation, it made me realize that I don't want a lot of guy friends. I want one partner to, do life with. I don't want, because like I was really trying to be, I was like, I like having, I've got a guy for this and a guy for this. I mean, it's not like anything sexual, it's just different dudes. But what has really shown the past week, after that toxic masculinity video I made, the toxicity within all of these dudes that I thought I was cool with has come to the surface. And that's when I'm like, whoa, okay, time to retract my energy from all of these dudes, and like completely center myself in my own femininity. And yeah, so I want to warn you about that. I think that masculine, because of the patriarch, are really, they're kind of doing like some last ditch efforts to bring women down, not just women, but like divine feminines. Again, divine feminines are here to create this, like, this is a spiritual warfare. So divine feminines have this ability to bring information through other realms onto this plane of existence. We are creating these spiritual bubbles to support humanity at this time, right? And so when people come in to either pop those bubbles or throw you off or make you feel weird, it's not for you. And know that, right? But if anyone ever asks you, and it doesn't need to be said in a condescending way, like neither of these guys said it in a condescending way, they said it more as like lost souls looking for clarity on their own path, but were projecting it onto me. Do you know what your purpose is? Yeah, honey, I'm living my purpose. I've devoted my life to my purpose. The past 20 years, I have taken step by step by step by step to stay in my purpose, okay? So don't ever let anyone come in and, ninja warrior you off of your balance beam, all right? Have a good one. I hope this helps.